Let me talk to you.
The biggest icon in wrestling.
Yeah. Let me talk to you.
Welcome. We are live, ladies and gentlemen, for another episode of Let Me Talk to You. We're back after a little bit of a hiatus. We're finally back. Last week we were gone. We weren't available because we were at what we were, all of us was kind of like looking at. We were cheering for our team at Copa America, and we had a big game last night. And then obviously we have a lot to talk about. We got to catch up. We got to go ahead and kind of like, talk to you guys. So my name is Frankie Fresco. Call me Powerhouse Frankie out here. Now, if you guys were watching the Big O show, then you know why in the world I wrote Powerhouse Frankie. And of course, my brother D Trapio. What up, homie? Talk to me, bro. How you been, man?
Oh man, it's good. I'm feeling good, bro. July 4th tomorrow. Can't wait to cook them hot dogs and burgers.
Yes, sir. Man, we got a lot to talk about, man. We got a couple things. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit kind of slow here. I know I had to send I was sending some invitations. We were expecting. I was trying to get a couple of my friends to get on. Josh, I got you. I am sending you right now, so let me know if hopefully you get this because I know I had told you I was gonna send you the invite. So we are gonna have Josh. Obviously, Josh. Well, Josh is actually on the chat board, sir. Hopefully, Josh can join us for the portion of the Copa America. So let me give you a quick rundown of what we're gonna be talking about. Obviously, we're first gonna start with NXT. We're just basically for NXT. All we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and go over and make our selections for Heatwave, which is actually happening this Sunday for NXT. So me and my brother will go with our NXT predictions for Heatwave. It should be pretty cool. And then after that, we're gonna go into, of course, the Copa America. We're gonna talk about a little bit about the Copa America, find out exactly what is going on. Our predictions as far as like first we're gonna check back and see if our predictions were right, and then after that, what we're gonna do is we're obviously gonna have a couple of guests. Like I said, I know hopefully Josh can join us. I know I had talked to Josh. I had one of my friends, Danny. He was supposed to come in. Unfortunately, it was kind of short notice. I should have given him more heads up. Hopefully he's able to come in next week or the week after. I'm not sure if we're gonna have the show next week because, correct me if I'm wrong, Nick, next Wednesday would be the semifinal, right? One of the games of the semifinal.
Yes, it should be. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if it's a championship game, semifinal to make it to the final, most likely probably will not be going ahead and doing the show because most likely
it'll be the semifinal.
Most likely Colombia, hopefully, praying to God, we're in that game. So I don't know if we're gonna be here in Miami or if we're gonna be somewhere else, or maybe we just want to watch the game as well. So that's why. So I don't know yet. I don't know. I gotta see. But anyways, we'll talk about obviously Copa America is what we're gonna talk about a little bit about that. Then we're also gonna go ahead and talk to we're gonna talk about a little bit about the Miami Dolphins, talk a little bit about the Miami Heat. Quick recaps of those two. Also the Florida Panthers. There was a lot that happened while we were gone, and then of course, after that, any other thing that could pop up, we'll go ahead and talk about it. So first and foremost, let's talk about, of course, what's happening this Sunday, which is NXT Heat Wave. Sure, NXT coming out with a huge pay-per-view. Should be fun. Let's go ahead and let me see. Right now, this is what I got. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 matches. I hope this hasn't been the last match, because usually I have to see exactly what is the match that hopefully they're not updating any other thing. They haven't updated the match, but I'm gonna check and see. But we could go ahead and we could do our predictions of what's going on. So first and foremost, Nick, we have the NXT Tag Team Championship match, and this is gonna be Nathan Frazier and Axiom, our good old buddies that you really really enjoy, and I'm not a big fan of, against Chase U. Sir, who do you have winning that tag team match?
Sir, that's like saying Colombia versus Panama. Colombia being Axiom and Nathan Frazier, and Panama being Chase U, bro. If Nathan and Axiom are gonna definitely win that match.
Yeah, I mean, last time we were there, I had picked the Good Brothers to beat Nathan and Nathan and Axiom, but unfortunately it didn't work out. This time around, I'm not gonna go ahead and go against what everybody's been pretty much informing us that's been happening. It's that those two are gonna win eventually, and it's gonna take a while before those two actually lose. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna go with what most people are gonna say, and that's exactly the same thing. XCM and Nathan Frazier are gonna win. Unfortunately, it won't be Chase U. I think Chase U has a great opportunity. I don't know, but I just don't see this team losing. Any type of losing any match anytime soon, especially since they're kind of like the favorites. People really, I mean, NXT really likes them, so it is what it is. So we'll go with them. So we both agree: Nathan Frazier and XCM winning. The next match is the NXT Women's North American Championship match, and that is the new champion of the North American, Kalani Jordan, versus Sol Ruka. So this is a good match. And talk to me, man. Who do you got? Do you have the champ defending and retaining her belt, or do you see a new champion in Sol Ruka?
So Ruka seems like she can really handle the championship already, but Kalani is still fresh. They kind of want to still ride with her when it comes to her championship run. So I pick Kalani.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any way that you could make Kalani Jordan lose right away, especially because of the simple fact that it's hard. I mean, she just became the champion, considering the fact that she worked for it and she beat everybody last time in that ladder match. And obviously, Sol Ruka was or is a very good opponent, but unfortunately, I don't see it, man. I see too much more of the champion defending her belt and retaining it. I think she's gonna go for a nice little run. So I agree with you, sir. There's no other option but Kalani Jordan, obviously, defending her belt and winning it. The next match, we have the NXT North American Championship match, and that is the champion Oba Femi going one-on-one with Wes Lee. Talk to me, sir. Do you have Oba Femi winning and retaining his belt, or do you have Wes Lee being the new North American Championship wrestler and becoming the champion like he was a while back?
Sir, I think he's gonna break that streak. He's gonna retain. I mean, get Oba Femi's belt, and he's gonna be able to go ahead and become the new champion. I think this is gonna be the perfect moment. For some people, they may not agree with me, but I think this would be a great kind of like a hey, I didn't give up. Look how it looks when you keep on fighting for what you really want at the end of the day.
So you have Oba Femi winning and retaining his belt?
No. I have Wes Lee winning.
Oh, you have Wesley with the upset. Okay. All right.
Mhm.
And you know, I'm gonna be a little bit different because I wanted Wesley to win last time. Remember, it was a three-way last time, and Obafemi won, and you actually predicted Obafemi winning it.
Mhm.
So you know, this time around, I'm gonna say Obafemi defends it and he wins it as well. He's able to defend it and he's able to go ahead and retain his North American championship. But I just I like Wesley. I hope. I mean, I would. I guess. I mean, I do see Wesley winning it, but something's just telling me that maybe Obafemi is just gonna be able to withstand, and you know, be able to still defend his belt and move on. I think Obafemi is just too strong right now. He beat Wesley in that triple threat match before. I think he'll handle it this time as well. The next match is the NXT Women's Championship match. And of course, this is a big one. This is Roxanne Perez versus Lola Vice. I'll go first, sure. Lola Vice, of course, representing the 305 against Roxanne Perez. Look, man, they've been pushing this match. They've been doing a phenomenal job selling it. I think the craziness about this is that is Lola Vice ready to take the realm and be the kind of like the image of the women's championship in NXT. And this is rough, man. This because I could see Roxanne Perez winning it and still being, you know, the face of the women's division. But I also see Lola Vice how they've made a huge push for her, especially last pay-per-view where she obviously beat Shayna Baszler and everything. So I'm gonna go on a limb, man. I'm gonna I'm you might call me a homer, but I gotta do it. I'm gonna go ahead and say Lola Vice upsets Roxanne Perez, and Lola Vice becomes the new women's championship. What about you, sir? What do you think?
Um, I'm gonna ride with you, bro. I think everybody wants to see that, man. I think everybody is even though a lot of people don't enjoy what how Lola Vice's her character is, but it apparently WWE is really pushing her to kind of like, you know, become a champion. So I'm with you, man. I think she's gonna win, especially that she beat Shayna Baszler. That's crazy.
Yeah, man. I thought you were gonna go the opposite way. I really honestly thought you were gonna go Roxanne Perez. I don't but hey man, I mean, we're both homers, I guess, right? That's what we are. That's what we're known for. We're known for being homers, right? That's
Hey, 305, 305.
305 till we die. All right. The last match that we have up is gonna be for the NXT Championship match, and of course, it is Trick Williams defending his belt against Javon Evans. Remember, Javon Evans was the one that won the Battle Royale, and obviously, Joe Henry should have won that. I think that would have been. We all believe in Joe Henry, but unfortunately, he did not. He was not able to go ahead and win. Nick, talk to me, man. Do you think Trick Williams is going to be able to defend and retain his belt, or do you see the young cat Javon Evans beating him for the belt?
No shot, man. Trick Williams is too big. NXT. This is just another feud that is not bad. Great storyline, great development, and at the end, Trick is gonna win.
Yeah, man, I agree with you, man. I like Javon. I think Javon has a lot of potential, and I think his time will come eventually. I just think right now is not his moment. I think right now the situation with NXT is, you know, it's Trick Williams. He is the man. He's the guy who's gonna go ahead and surpass everybody. And you know, he's the guy who's been the face of NXT. And I just don't see Javon Evans upsetting him right away. I think Trick Williams still has quite a few more matches to go. Um I think Javon Williams is going to grow from this, but I just don't see him as the face of NXT right away. I think the guy who's going to keep on rolling out of all this is going to be, of course, Trick Williams, and he's the guy. He's the man. That's who everybody wants to see. He's been the image of, um, you know,
NXT
NXT.
actor, and he's not carrying just one wrestler. He's carrying two wrestlers. I mean, Carmelo was big, and Dragunov was big too. So having to have that momentum, just kind of putting the company on your shoulders is wild.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and I think overall it's good for NXT. It's good for Trick Williams. He's done a phenomenal
Mm-hmm.
job carrying the torch and holding it down, especially after so many of them transferred over from the NXT world over to the Monday Night Raw and SmackDown roster, like Dragunov and Carmelo Hayes and Braun Breaker, and you see the success that they're having over there in those shows. So it's just a matter of time. I don't. I will say this: I don't see Trick Williams making his way anytime soon. Even after the draft comes over again for next year. I know we're quite a while away. We just had the draft maybe a couple months ago, but I just don't see Trick Williams jumping over to the Monday night or the SmackDown um, roster just yet. I think he's going to be the image of NXT, especially since NXT is moving from the USA channel to the CW, and I think that's what they're going to bank on. They're going to bank on that, and I think the best person they can bank on when it comes to the NXT world is Trick Williams, because I mean I tuned because of him. That's the
And
main reason.
I wouldn't be surprised if also like the recent NXT superstars that left and are now drafted into the SmackDown or Monday Night Raw roster, they do like they flip flop like how Becky Lynch does. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do that too.
Yeah, especially once they go to the CW, just to keep it relevant. And in the Let Me Talk to You podcast with Sean, I'm sorry, on the Squared Circle podcast that we do on Tuesdays, I did mention to Sean and to our listeners on that show that I was hoping that hopefully the Wyatt Six make their way over to the NXT world as way in a way, right? Because you obviously have some of the NXT guys over in the Wyatt Six, and I think it'll make it more entertaining where the White Six can not only go ahead and be the face of Monday Night Raw, but you could also kind of make some of the fans intrigued with going into NXT and SmackDown. I think that would be pretty cool. Plus, let's keep it real. It'll be really, really nice to see how they keep working the TNA. They kind of cool down, but it will be nice. And remember, there a lot of people, there was a lot of support for TNA, and TNA making its way over to the NXT world, and of course showcasing some of those wrestlers over in the NXT world, Frankie Kazarius, Joe Hendry, Jordan Grace on the women's side. So it's they have a lot of there's a lot of potential and a lot of different creative ideas that can be made, not only with like the Wyatt Six in my opinion, but with the whole TNA kind of relationship that they're doing. So we'll see exactly how that works out. But very exciting card for NXT this Sunday. Hopefully we get our results in. Hopefully we're spot on. Again, it's this Sunday at 7 o'clock. NXT Heat Wave. And then of course, let me go ahead and inform. Shout out to Cat for Life. Welcome, sir, for making your way in. And of course, Stanley Media House Network. Our boy Sean. More NXT stars showed up at the TNA tapings. They sure did, sir. They sure did.
Wow, that's interesting.
So
I can't believe TNA is having a partnership now with WWE. That's crazy.
Well, I mean, let's keep it real, man. At the end of the day, TNA is a good company, but I think they realize that there's so much potential for them to grow even more with working with NXT. You understand me? A lot of people are gonna start tuning in to TNA. Like for you guys that don't watch TNA, TNA wrestling is on Thursday nights, and
So a whole week of wrestling.
yeah, so TNA is on Thursday nights. I forgot the name of the channel. I know me and Sean spoke about it last time. I don't know if Sean could drop it on the chat board. But
isn't it like I thought it was on YouTube, like a YouTube thing.
No. They have TNA is on AXS TV. They're called man Access
AXS TV. What net? Like what cable?
A as an Alpha, X is an X-ray, S is in Sam TV. There you go. See, I
Is that like
had it right.
service?
No, I have it on Direct TV. Like I have it. I don't remember what number it is on
like
TV.
A spike, like a spike
kind of like
TV.
a spike. And then I believe that we will lose. I believe that we're gonna talk about that in just a minute. but yes, that is where we're gonna go ahead, and that's where TNA shows. So if you guys want to tune into TNA, you could tune it in on that channel. I don't know exactly what channel it is on, if you have DirecTV or depending on the cable company that you have, but it is I guess you pronounce it Access TV or man, I suck at this. AXS. I don't remember. Whatever. It's on that channel. So I know it says, I did look it up. It says if you have you could see it on DirecTV, Dish Network, Comcast, and Xfinity. They all have them. Sling TV. So it's available. Just depends on what you have, you know. The Anthem. See, Sean is writing it. Thank you, Sean. It's Anthem Sports. They own TNA. There you go. So, but enough with the
quick question to Sean or to you, sir. I've been using the mug or the big water bottle that you got me for my graduation, the Dolphins thing.
yeah.
And one of the employees at my job was like, "Hey, where'd you get that?" And I pretty much told them the whole story. And Sean, if you're watching, if we can like connect, because I got a couple of people who want to do Miami Heat, so we can like communicate and stuff.
That is freaking awesome. That's awesome, man. So yeah, absolutely. And keep in mind, guys, yesterday in the Squared Circle, Sean was also debuting. He was debuting his new Squared Circle Digest shirt. It was kind of like a camel looking Squared Circle, and of course his wife is the one who uses that, had helped them do it. So if you guys are interested in purchasing any of those, we could work with Sean. Like I could definitely have it there, and we could go ahead and maybe even bring it into our show and promote it. And of course, don't forget to follow as well Stanley House Media Network. Obviously, my boy Sean, me and him, we do the Let Me Talk to, we do Squared Circle Digest on Tuesdays. Typically at 7. I know yesterday we were a little bit early because I was running around trying to watch the game, but typically that's basically what we were on.
It's Squared Circle Digest. Squared Circle Digest. Got it.
Correct. And then of course on and then obviously me and my brother, we do the Let Me Talk to You today at 8 o'clock. Sorry guys, I know I'm a little bit off a little bit. It's just they're sending me messages on my phone, so I'm trying to see if I could get another person in as well for the next segment, which is going to be
I think he's good.
Yeah, I see. So let me go ahead. Chad Frost is everywhere, bro. Yeah, I see it. All right, so let's jump to something. We're gonna jump to the Dolphins in just a minute, but let's jump first to the soccer talk, obviously. And we're gonna talk soccer because the Copa America has been going on. And of course, in the Copa America, last 2 weeks ago, what ended up happening was we made our predictions. We had a lot of I guess you could say like what we thought was gonna happen. And I want to go ahead and bring in one of our guests to the show. I was trying to get another guest. I was trying to get a Boludo on the guest to be a guest, but he's not responding to me. So I don't know if he's gonna be able to join us, but that doesn't mean we didn't get you a guest. We got another guest, of course, and that's our friend and homie, and obviously our one of our avid listeners. That is Josh. So Josh, welcome to the Let Me Talk to You podcast. As we're gonna go ahead, and of course, Josh is representing Ecuador, because Ecuador is one of the teams that has made it out of the group stage.
Chico family.
And talk to me, Josh. Let's start with this. Tell me, how do you feel as an Ecuadorian? What did you think? What have you thought has been like the plus of Ecuador? What is something Ecuador needs to work on? And then what do you think are the chances of Ecuador being able to upset Argentina?
Wow, I'm happy that they made it this far, but I mean, we should have been in first place. But since the guy was playing WWE, I forgot what the guy's name, which is Delantero. Forgot his name, but he was playing WWE style. That's what we could have been Venezuela if we wanted to. Yeah, Valencia. Yeah, we could have beat them, but hey, whatever, it happens. At least we beat Jamaica, and then we try we tied with Mexico. So hey, I mean, hopefully we can upset Argentina tomorrow. We're like the pain in the and we're pain in the ass to them. So
Now,
yeah, you
Josh,
know that. Yeah,
Josh, there's somebody backstage. I'm hearing every time you say, "Yeah, hopefully we can
yeah.
upset
That's my
Argentina." And
like.
somebody, oh, okay, because he's like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
right."
because yeah, my brother's Argentina is a big Argentina guy.
Oh my god.
He's a
So,
big fan.
oh my god. So,
Yeah, so yeah.
let me ask you this, man. First and foremost, obviously, you wanted Ecuador to win the group stage. Ecuador, they did pretty good for
No,
themselves. They didn't do bad, right? Like we expected Ecuador
yeah,
to make it out of the group stage, so they were able to do that. And now we got them going 1-on-1 against Argentina. And now Argentina, let's keep it real, is one of the favorites. That's just how Argentina
no,
wins. Now,
that's of course.
now before we go into more in depth as far as Ecuador, Venezuela won the group stage for in Group B, right? So Venezuela won first, and then Ecuador came in second. You guys played Mexico, and you guys also played Jamaica. Now let me ask you this, because when you guys played against Mexico, you guys tied, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was 0-0.
Yeah,
But you
we
guys
tied 0-0.
So you guys tied with Mexico. You beat Jamaica 3-1, but you lost to Venezuela 2-1. Now that first
Yeah,
game that you lost 2-1, you guys actually lost it because, in my opinion, it was that one of your guys got a red card, and you
Valencia.
guys, yeah, Valencia got the red
Valencia.
card, and then all of a sudden, you guys took the lead, but then Venezuela came and scored the 2 goals on you guys, and then eventually you guys ended up losing that match. So you
Yeah,
guys have been kind of like a roller coaster type of
that's
vibe.
correct. Yeah, yeah.
What does Ecuador need to do in order to be able to upset Argentina tomorrow night,
We need to
in
take
your
out
opinion?
our best player. We need to take out the best player, which is not take like we need to defend good. We need to defend against Messi and the other guy that I forgot the other guy's name that's about to retire. We need to go this.
Maria.
Then we need to defend everybody. So I know that if we tie after the 90 minutes, we go to penalty kicks. So I know this is
Mhm.
gonna be and
Yeah, so
it's gonna be
so
a tough one.
so let's talk about that as well. Copa America has changed it up when it comes to the elimination stage, right? So out of
Mhm.
the group stage, you're not gonna have like Euro Cups where you're gonna have extra time. You're gonna go ahead and go straight into penalties. So that's kind of one of the things that I have no idea why Conmebol is doing that. But let me ask you, Nick, do you agree with that? Do you think Copa America is making the right decision by going ahead and eliminating the extra time? That means after 90 minutes or it's over, they're still tied 0-0 or 1-1 or whatever the score is. As long as they're tied, you go into penalties. Do you think Conmebol did the right thing by doing that?
Um, it's not my personal fan favorite, to be honest with you. I'm never against seeing more football, but I believe in 2016 when La Copa America was here, they also had the same rule except for the final. The final you do include extra time, which is 30 minutes, 2 15-minute periods, and then you go move on to the penalties. However, I believe in that tournament also in 2016 they also did the 90 minutes and then straight to penalties. Because if you recall, I believe in 2021 when we went into extra time, there wasn't any like. I mean, we went into extra time. It wasn't like straight to penalties.
Mm. Josh, what do you think, man? Do you think do you like that, or do you prefer the extra time? Maybe your team, scoring a goal within those first. Because typically, for you guys that don't follow soccer, it's usually 90 minutes. Of course, any additional time that they put, obviously, because of any injuries or downtime, and then after that, if they're still tied, then you have 2 extra minute times of 15 minutes. So you have 15 minutes one way and 15 minutes the other way to switch sides of the field. And then if it's still tied, then they go to penalties. Copa America is not going that route. They're only doing that route for the final. For the final, they are, but not for the quarterfinals or the
Oh
semifinals.
no,
Josh,
actually, last Copa America they did go into straight to penalties.
so they also did that as well last year.
The last World Cup, yeah.
Yeah.
The last Copa America. Okay, so what do you think, Josh? Do you think that's the right decision, or do you feel that maybe they should also do the same thing what Euro Cup does, which is, hey, let them play, have the extra time, and then if nobody scores, then you go into penalty kicks.
I mean, I kind of actually like it going straight to penalty because it adds more emotion, and like basically, I mean, adds more emotion to the game. So whoever misses or it adds more emotion because I think if you make them play for 30 minutes and they don't score, it's like basically waste. Nothing happens. You get it?
Yeah, I get
So I
you.
prefer like going straight to the penalty. It's more emotional.
Okay. I personally myself, I like the extra time. I think it's
Yeah.
I don't understand why Conmebol likes to be different. I mean, it doesn't, in my opinion, what kind of gets me is the fact that they're willing to do the extra 15 minutes for the final, but they're not willing to do it in the semifinal or the quarterfinals. Like, what's the big deal? Like, why don't, I mean, what, you're trying to save them? Like, you don't want them to get tired or something heading into the final or to the next round? It just doesn't make any sense. I think that you should let the players play the extra 15 minutes, which would be then 30, obviously, 115 one way, 15 the other. And then if it doesn't work out, then you go to penalties. Like, I think you're cutting the fans a little bit of soccer, especially the hardcore soccer fans like myself, my brother, and of course Josh and everybody else who is a hardcore soccer fan. But in my opinion, I think they should allow the 15 extra minutes for each side and then go to penalties. But man, everybody has their own choice. Everybody has their own opinion, right? So, with that being said, as you can see on the screen, we have the semifinals, quarters, first, and in each game. So the first game obviously is going to be Argentina versus Ecuador. The next game on the left hand side of the bracket is Venezuela versus Canada. On the right side we have Uruguay versus Brazil, and then lastly we have Colombia versus Panama. So we'll start with my brother Nick. Um, Biggest surprise of the Copa America as far as team, and biggest disappointment in your opinion?
Um, I'm not gonna lie to you. Biggest surprise has like right now so far in the tournament has to be Venezuela. I think Venezuela has made a huge jump from previous years that I've seen. That country in football, and biggest disappointment. I'm sorry, man, but it's the red, white, and blue, bro. The United States, man. They had a lot of expectations coming into this tournament. That team had a lot of talent, a lot of European play, and they didn't really meet expectation. And if you kind of look back at the host of the 2016 United States team, they they didn't have the same. That team wasn't as strong as this one. So biggest disappointment was United States. Biggest surprise has been Venezuela. Young team, hungry coach, veteran leader in Rondon, and I really think they have the chance to beat Canada. I think they're pretty structured right now. I don't know if you know, but they're in fourth place in their World Cup qualifiers. So I think definitely Venezuela right now has been the biggest surprise in me.
Josh, your opinion, biggest surprise team, and obviously the biggest disappointment in Copa America.
I mean, the biggest surprise is gonna be Venezuela because I mean, nobody expected to win the group.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it has to be Venezuela. I mean, remember when you guys did the prediction? It was supposed to be Ecuador and Mexico
And
making it
Mexico.
out.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, yeah. The biggest disappointing, two biggest disappointing is Mexico and United States. I mean, they don't show up. They need a good coach. So that's the two biggest disappointment.
Okay.
Because yeah,
All right. So for me, my biggest surprise, you guys said Venezuela. For me, I'm gonna go on a limb. I'm gonna say Panama. I did not expect Panama to make it out of the group stage. If you remember my predictions 2 weeks ago, it was basically the United States going 1-on-1 against Colombia. So I am surprised. Panama gave Uruguay a very, very good challenge. It wasn't like they got smoked. They only beat Panama 3-1. And if you watched that game, you saw that Panama was in it for the most part. So I was impressed with Panama. I really honestly thought Panama held, a good stand. They also beat the United States, and they did what they needed to do in order for them to be able to go ahead and move on in the group stage, and obviously have a great opportunity to try to now upset Colombia. So I think my biggest obviously upset team is our biggest surprise is Panama. And keep in mind, they also destroyed Bolivia. They weren't like they didn't just beat Bolivia 1-0. They beat Bolivia 3-1. So they actually were able to score on Bolivia. I know Bolivia is not the best team out there, but still for a Central America team like CONCACAF to go ahead and be able to, show themselves out. And I think they've done a phenomenal job. Biggest disappointment, guys, let's keep it real. It's the United States. Obviously, the United States, you as a host country, you can't you can't just beat Bolivia and think it was a success. Obviously, the United States, we're the host country. The United States have quality players. They have players that play in Europe. They have players that have been together. There's a lot of expectation. You also have the World Cup happening in 2 years. It's just disappointing the fact that the United States is not going to go ahead and didn't at least make it out of the group. And everybody always said, hey, United States, Mexico, and Canada are kind of like the three countries. But, both the United States and Mexico kind of let us down if you're a CONCACAF fan. And Canada and Panama are pretty much the two teams representing CONCACAF here. So I thought the United States was kind of like the biggest disappointment, in all honesty. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the United States in just a second. I want to get the predictions. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go one by one, and we're going to go ahead and make our predictions of who we think. Before we do that, guys, I do want to give you a heads up of what me and my brother had picked 2 weeks ago. So let's see how good me and my brother are with our predictions. So in Group A, I had Argentina winning the group. My brother had Argentina. And then in second place, I had Canada, baby. And Canada stood ground, and they made their way out of the group stage, winning number 2. My brother was a Canadian hater, and he was going with Chile, and Chile got their asses out of there, bro. So Chile did not make it out of the group stage, and Canada did. So I guess you could give me 1 point there, right, Nick? I guess I won. I got the upper hand on that group. Group B, bro, we neither one of us had Venezuela. So I had Ecuador and Mexico. I actually had Mexico coming in second. I had Ecuador winning the group. And I remember I was asking for the group. That was Josh. I remember I told you, Josh. I was like, Josh, I'm going with Ecuador, bro. I'm going with your country for that reason. But unfortunately, I didn't get all of it, right? I got Venezuela won the group, and Ecuador came in second. So Nick, you had Mexico and Ecuador. So you actually got Ecuador correct coming in second. And we both were let down by the Mexicans. So I'll give Nick the point there because he was able to get Ecuador correct as the second seed on that group. In Group C, Nick, we both got the first one right. We got Uruguay correct, but then we both thought the United States was going to go ahead and show face, and the Americans let us down. And I'm not going to lie to you, Nick. You also went as far. I remember your rant. You were saying, hey, the United States is going to surprise all of the world. They're going to make the biggest splash. They're going to go ahead and upset Brazil. And you were saying, I think they were going to go third place or something like that. Sir, before I go ahead and, I guess give each other half a point for this one, do you want to take back those comments to save your grace of your selection of the United States, sir?
If they had a different coach, my prediction would have been 100% accurate. But because of the coaching style, man, it was just a complete 180, and I did not expect United States to just fumble like that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that was pretty bad, bro.
Because of the fact of you being the host, they're the first hosting CONMEBOL or Copa America country to not even advance to the knockout stages.
Wow,
they're the first team to not make it out of the group stages.
What a disappointment, bro. That goddamn American.
And this cup has been going on for 100 years.
Damn Americans, goddamn it. All right, and then finally, Group D. Sir, you had Brazil winning the group, and you had Colombia coming second. I had a little bit more of a powerhouse feel. Sometimes people call me a blind ass fan alert in other streams. They tell me that I am.
Blind-ass fan alert.
They like to say that I'm a homer and that I don't that Colombia is not a powerhouse team. But sir, Colombia won the group. They were number one.
Opa.
Brazil came in number two, and I'm telling you right now, a lot of you might not think Colombia is not a powerhouse. I think Colombia's a powerhouse. Colombia is riding a 25-game undefeated streak. They also are going ahead, and they've proved they play some quality teams. They beat Germany, they beat Spain, they obviously they beat Paraguay in the Copa America. They were able to beat
Romania.
they played Romania in a friendly as well. They beat Romania, so it hasn't been like anything.
They beat
And if Colombia wants to make it to the final, they're gonna have to play against some hard teams. Now, maybe not Panama, but still, we'll get to that. All right. So first and foremost, Josh, we're gonna jump on and we're gonna go ahead and make our selection. So we're gonna go first on the we're gonna start on the we'll do the first game, which is Argentina versus Ecuador. I'll go first, then my brother goes. Well, actually, since Josh is Ecuadorian, we're gonna let Josh go. Yeah, we're gonna let Josh go last. We're gonna let Josh go last because we want to hear the Ecuadorian side. We want to see if he has a valid, I guess, reason or any whatever his argument or case will be to say that Ecuador is gonna win this. So, because I highly doubt that Josh is gonna pick Argentina, but I don't know. So I'll go first. Argentina versus Ecuador. Obviously, Argentina's the favorite. Argentina has Messi, and obviously they have Di Maria, which is for me and my brother, that's Scottie Pippen. So it's like, I think Ecuador has a shot. They really do. All they got to, Nick, they're playing at the stadium that we went to, NRG Stadium. They're going to be playing in Houston. So it's going to be a good a crowd. I think Ecuadorians, if you guys watch the podcast, Ecuadorians, you guys need to go out there to Houston and go support Ecuador. We need all the support for Ecuador to upset Argentina. But I'm sorry, Josh. I just don't see it. I think Argentina is going to beat Ecuador. I think it'll be a close game. I'm going to say Argentina defeats Ecuador 2-1, and they move on to the semifinals. DiTrapio, Nick, talk to me, man. Who do you got? Argentina, Ecuador?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I think this is gonna be my upset alert, man. I have Ecuador winning. I think Ecuador is gonna figure how to control the midfield. I think that's kind of what Argentina's strong style of play is, running through the middle. If you control the middle of the field and make them play laterally, they do. And they do have on the other side, if I'm not mistaken, I forgot their left winger's name. I forgot his name right now. But
for Ecuador or for Argentina?
Oh, for Argentina. I forgot who it is. But having to have those guys play and kind of like force it laterally. Ecuador has a good midfield. They have Caicedo, and I think Caicedo is he's gonna put on his big boy pants and he's gonna, try to limit the play of Messi. And mind you, this isn't a Messi that has been playing consistently. He played in game 1 fully. Game 2, he played fully, but he kind of had a little knock. And then in this third game, they rested him. So this might be a little bit of a rusty Messi. And we don't know how healthy he is. Apparently, this it looks like a groin injury. I'm not quite sure what's going on. But I know he's well rested, but I feel like Ecuador is going to win. And it's going to be, I think, a 2-1 game.
All right. Well, that's a little bit of a surprise. I wasn't expecting that. Josh, talk to me, man. Who do you got?
Oh, boy.
Argentina or Ecuador?
I mean, I gotta be realistic. I love Ecuador. That's my team. That's my country. But I know. I mean, as much as I want Ecuador to beat Argentina, for some reason, Argentina's gonna end up winning. I know that's pain me to say it because I really don't like Argentina. I don't like Messi, but in Argentina, but I like him into Miami. So yeah, I don't know, man. I'm choosing Argentina to beat Ecuador.
Damn.
I mean, I'm just happy that this team is. I mean, I hope Ecuador upsets them. I mean,
but you just
no, I don't.
What do you think? What do you think? If you have to pick a score, what would you say the score would be between Ecuador and Argentina?
It'll be 2-1. It won't be like a blowout.
Okay.
2-1. Yeah.
Sounds good. All right.
Now, if Ecuador beats Argentina, I think they win it all. That's
Oh,
all. That's all I gotta say. That's all. If
okay.
Ecuador beat Argentina, they win it all. They win the whole
Okay.
thing.
I like it. I like it. All right. The next match is obviously on Friday. That is at 9 o'clock as well, and that is Venezuela versus Canada. Those hard hitting Canadians out there going up one on one with Venezuela. I'm gonna go ahead. Oh, memos on the chat board, sir. I wanted to send you an invite that way you could come and give us your Argentinian prediction out here, but I don't know if Memo wants to join. Memo, let me know if you want to join. I'll send you the link if you want to join. Um, I'll go first with Venezuela and Canada. Look, man, Venezuela has been the surprise. Venezuela has gone ahead and they have dominated. They dominated in all their games. You know, they won all three of them. If I'm not mistaken, I think they're the only right. They were the one that won all three of them. They won. Let me see. Let me just make sure. They sure did. They beat Ecuador 2-1. They beat Mexico 1-0, and then they beat Jamaica 3-0. So, um, honestly, in my opinion, they are the heavy hitter right here in this game. And Venezuela, I think they're gonna have a crazy ass crowd. This game is gonna be taking place Friday at 9 o'clock at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. So all of our Venezuelans are probably going to be traveling out there. But you want to know something? I'm going to go and ride my high with Canada, baby. And I say Canada will find a way to upset Venezuela. And Canada is going to CONCACAF Venezuela. That's what they're going to do. They're going to CONCACAF Venezuela. I'm pulling an Alexi Lalas saying it out there. Canada, CONCACAF over Venezuela. And Canada moves on to the semifinals and beats Venezuela. Talk to me, Nick. Who do you got, Venezuela or Canada?
I'm sorry, bro, but I don't believe in the CONCACAF, so I'm gonna go with Venezuela. Venezuela all day. It's gonna be a demolishment. It's gonna be 3-0.
Wow. Oh, Josh, talk to me, man. Who do you got, Venezuela or Canada?
I'm going with Vino Tinto
Oh,
because I think they're gonna win. I think they're gonna beat Canada, so it's gonna be my final score is gonna be probably 3-1.
okay. Nick, what is it
Yeah.
gonna be? You got so 3-1 Venezuela. Nick got it 3-0 Venezuela, and I got Canada winning 1-0. No score from Venezuela. You go home, Venezuela. All right. The next game is on Saturday. The next game after that, the next quarterfinal game is on Saturday, and of course that night is actually Colombia versus Panama. And this game is being played at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. So Colombia is making their way back to Glendale, Arizona. They made a great showing out there last time when they faced. They went against Paraguay. No, they played Paraguay in Houston, and then they played. Who did they play in Glendale? Nick?
Costa Rica.
Costa Rica. So they played Costa Rica in Glendale, Arizona. Look, man, I'll go first. You know, Colombia has they've gotten the job done. You know, they beat Costa Rica, they beat Paraguay, and they should have won yesterday against Brazil. I like Panama. I think Panama, like I said, they've been the surprise in my eyes this Copa America. I think their run ends on Saturday. I say Colombia beats Panama 3-0. Talk to me, Nick. Who do you got?
Yeah, right now Colombia is pretty much the talk of the tournament with the 26 not win streak, but just undefeated streak overall. And I think Colombia just needs to be focused. The job is not finished. Mamba mentality. Job's not finished. You cannot take Panama lightly. You know, once one mistake like in that USA game, and it can shift the whole game 180. So just maintain their cool, keep the possession close, and just let James do his thing. And I think Colombia wins 2-0.
Okay, so I got Colombia 3-0. You got Colombia 2-0. Josh, talk to me, man. Who do you got, Colombia or Panama?
Okay. I feel like this is gonna be the upset. I'm choosing Panama over Colombia.
Oh, good. Going there with the
The reason why,
upset.
because I feel like Colombia is gonna get too confident,
Okay.
and Panama is gonna shock the world.
I
Just like
like
the
it.
guy said, he's gonna conquer Colombia.
Yes, that is
Yeah.
Memo. He likes to talk crap, but he still doesn't want to join the podcast. Even though I told him to jump on board, he doesn't want to join
Yeah.
because
That's
he,
why I chose Ecuador, man. I believe Ecuador has
Yeah.
a strong team, and last time they
Yeah.
played in Buenos Aires, they barely beat Ecuador just 1-0. So if they can,
Exactly. They got lucky. That's why.
so I think Ecuador on a neutral site, all the Ecuadorians are gonna go to NRG and hold it down.
Yeah.
All right, so Josh has it says Josh is the one who sent me the link. Alexa. So Josh said okay, so we all have an upset. So obviously, well, we don't yeah, I guess we kind of do, right? So Nick has Ecuador, I have Canada, and Josh has Panama. So then the final game, the final
Oof.
quarterfinal match is obviously the heavy hitter. Thank God Colombia doesn't have to deal with this matchup, and that is of course Uruguay versus Brazil. And this match is gonna be a barn burner, right? Obviously. Now this match is also taking place on Saturday. So the first game that's gonna happen is Colombia versus Panama. That game starts at 6, and then the 9 o'clock game will be Uruguay versus Brazil, and that game is being played at Allegiant Stadium. It's going to be in Vegas, so the Vegas fans are going to be excited to have a freaking amazing game. This is two powerhouse teams, and I mean the Uruguayos are heavy hitters, man. I mean I'll go first. Uruguay has done what a lot of people expected, and remember when we started our predictions, Nick, 2 weeks ago, I said Uruguay was probably one of the biggest teams to defeat. Like one of the teams to win this whole thing. I just don't think they're going to be Colombia, but still, always said, hey, if Colombia doesn't make it and win the championship, I have Uruguay winning the championship. So I'm gonna stick to my guns. I'm gonna go ahead and say Uruguay defeats Brazil. Uruguay has had a strong team. I think Brazil not having Vinicius is going to hurt them a lot. I think I don't know if Araujo, which is their kind of like their left winger, if he's going to be available. I'm not sure if you guys saw against the United States. He actually kind of tweaked his neck pretty bad. So I don't know if he's going to be playing, but Uruguay has had a phenomenal showing. De La Cruz has been strong for them, and Darwin Nunez as the number 9 has been phenomenal. They've had the whole team. Ugarte has been a very strong player for them as well. It's hard to see like a weakness on this team. If I had to pick somebody who's weak when it comes to this Uruguay team, in my opinion, I don't know why, but it would probably be Sergio Rochet, which is the goalkeeper. I think he's the only one that could be a little bit shaky out there. That is the only thing that I might give Brazil the slight advantage, because Alisson, I think, is way better than him. But I still think Uruguay has too much firepower, and I think they're going to upset. They're going to beat Brazil. So I have Uruguay beating Brazil. I say the final score is 2-0. What about you, Nick?
I mean, I gotta give props to Uruguay. I mean, Uruguay in the World Cup qualifiers, they beat Brazil 2-0. Then they went into Argentina and they beat Argentina 2-0. So it's like they've been on fire. They've been consistent. But then in this Copa America, it's been different. Here, yeah, they look dominant and they look like they can, be one of the contenders to win the Copa America. But at the same time, though, if you look at who they played in the group stages, it wasn't someone like, Bemo. They weren't like certain people, like they didn't beat, you know, CONMEBOL teams. They beat CONCACAF teams, which no disrespect to CONCACAF, but I mean, they were in the group with, who was it again? They beat, oh no, they beat Bolivia. Okay, so they beat Bolivia and they beat Panama, which is the upset for for Josh, but I don't know. They if they play like how they played against the United States, I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I gotta give it to Brazil. And if Brazil some way somehow gets better without having Vinicius bitching all the time, maybe moving him and allowing another player that's hungrier and wants to display hey, look, I kind of want to show out. I wouldn't be surprised if Brazil wins this and they win in penalties. I think it would be a 1-1 game and they'll go into penalties and Allison will outmatch the goalkeeper of Uruguay. So, in my opinion, I think Brazil is going to win this game 1-1 tie and then it's going to go into penalties.
All right. Josh, who do you got, man? Do you got Uruguay or do you got Brazil? And what is your goal, your score prediction?
I feel that this game is gonna be all the way to the end, so I feel like this game is gonna go to penalty, and they will determine there. So I feel like Brazil is gonna win
Wow.
this game.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you
just gonna
guys,
take it.
you
Mhm.
guys are very, very confident with Brazil without a Vinicius, because remember, Vinicius Jr. is their head guy. So you feel somebody else is gonna step it up and show face for Brazil. So I'm impressed. I'm impressed that both of you guys went with Brazil. All right. That leads up to our semifinals, obviously. The semifinals in our prediction. Let's do this. Since all of us have different results, we're just gonna go ahead and predict the remaining matches, obviously. So out of Argentina versus Ecuador, I have Argentina winning, and Argentina would be going up against Canada. Like I said, Argentina more superior. They already beat Canada before in the first round in the group stage 2-0. It will be a rematch again. I think Argentina will go ahead and do the same. I think Argentina wins 3-0. On the right hand side, and obviously I would have Argentina in the final. And then on the right hand side, I have Colombia winning and Uruguay winning. I think that game in North Carolina would be another barn burner. I like Uruguay a lot, but again, I think it's going to be such a tough test and they're going to be so, worn out after playing against Brazil. Keep in mind, if Uruguay can win this cup, I hands down will give them mad props because they would have had to gone through Brazil, Colombia, and most likely Argentina. So they would have to go through a tough 3-game stretch there. But I don't think Uruguay is gonna have the same intensity. I'm gonna say Uruguay loses to Colombia, and I see the final being Argentina versus Colombia. Nick, I'm not gonna predict the final. We're not gonna predict the final tonight. We'll hold off. Maybe we'll do it either next week or we'll just talk about it. I don't want to jinx Argentina, and I don't want to jinx or any of our teams, right? So I'll just say my final would be Argentina versus Colombia. Nick, talk to me. What would be your results in the semifinals, and who do you see going into the final?
After my boys from Quito take care of los boludos allá de Buenos Aires, I think Ecuador and Venezuela is going to be a really good game, but I got to give a special shout out to Rafael Romo from Venezuela. That goalkeeper's been legit. He saved the penalty against Mexico, and he has 6 saves in Mexico. So if he can display that type of talent, I think he will. It's gonna be the upset, but I think Venezuela is gonna make it to the final, bro. I think Venezuela right now is a little bit of a sleeper team. I see Venezuela making it to the final, and then obviously I think Brazil's gonna win, and obviously I think Colombia's gonna win. So obviously you see the team behind me. I think we're gonna exercise some demons, and I believe Brazil is not gonna be able to beat Colombia. We're gonna beat them, and 3-1, I believe so, and it will be Venezuela versus Colombia.
All right, Josh, talk to me, man. Who do you see in the semifinals, and who's in your final?
Well, Argentina and Venezuela and Brazil and Panama, and the final will be Argentina and Brazil.
Okay,
That's what I'll
you have Brazil versus Argentina. My brother has
Yeah.
Venezuela versus Colombia, and I have Argentina versus Colombia. All right, Josh, I want to go ahead and thank you for joining us during the Copa America segment. Is there any last words you want to say before you head on out, sir?
No, let's go for the upset. Hopefully, Ecuador beats Argentina
Oh yeah, man.
and
Well,
send them home, and then Messi comes back to Miami.
absolutely. Talking about Inter Miami, the game started already? Are they winning? Are they up?
I'm
Can
not
one of
even
you guys
sure.
can
Let's
one of
see
you
if
guys
the
let me know?
Ecuadorian Campanas killing it right now. Let's see.
No, while my brother's trying to find the Ecuadorian Campana if he's playing out there. Josh, do you regret that Ecuador didn't bring in Campana?
Yes, I even said it in the Big O. I'm not surprised they didn't bring Campana in.
So you would have
Uh,
liked to have seen
One
Campana
Of
more.
there.
course, of course.
Interesting.
I'm pretty sure we probably would have been in Venezuela,
That's a good
but
point. Maybe.
hey, nothing can change.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think Campana would have made a huge difference. I mean, off the
It's
bench
1-1
at
right
least.
All right, and Nick says it's 1-1. Hopefully, Inter Miami can score an extra goal and and we could take that win tonight. Especially since I got some betting on Inter Miami. Hopefully, Inter Miami can make me some money. All right, Josh,
All right.
sir, thank
No,
you
thank
so
you for
much.
having me.
Absolutely,
Thank you,
bro.
Josh.
Thank you so again. Good luck to your team, sir. I hope
All right.
you guys can pull the upset. I will be obviously rooting for Ecuador against Argentina. So good
All
luck,
right.
my
All
friend,
right.
and
All right.
stay safe. All right.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Later, man. All right, so that was Josh. Obviously, Ecuador in the building, of course, and you know, I don't know. They have a lot of potential. They do. They do. Unfortunately, like I said, it's good. I'm not gonna go ahead and discredit, obviously, um, what Argentina's been able to do and what Ecuador has been able to do. So we'll see. We'll see. But before we move on and we talk Dolphins, I want to get one last topic in, and that is, of course, the United States of America. Sir, we both agreed, and Josh also, I think, mentioned out there that the United States was a letdown, and the United States was the biggest probably disappointment of the cup of this tournament. You have voiced your opinion, and you said that one of the reasons why the United States has struggled is because, of course, the coach Greg Berhalter.
Yep.
So the United States, in my opinion, struggled for three reasons. Number one, I don't think they have the right coach. I think they don't have a good striker, and I don't think they have a number 10. They don't have a mid guy. Argentina has a Messi, right? Messi is the guy who goes ahead and makes the passes. Colombia is a very successful team because they got James Rodriguez. James Rodriguez is their mid guy. He's the guy who passes it out there. I think that's one of the reasons why Brazil kind of struggles. They don't have a middle guy that can pass the ball, and they also look like they don't have a strong number 9. Benitez is the closest. I think that's why you see Brazil struggle. And of course, I think the coach of Brazil is not the best, but their talent is so extensive that obviously they've been able to overcome it. And of course, they're Brazil. Same thing goes with Venezuela. I think the reason Venezuela has been very, very successful is because they have a mid guy. Let me see if I could pull up the name of that kid. He's their number 10, and he is their best player on Venezuela. And his name is let me see if I could find him. The Venezuelan kid, he is number 10. I think his name is
Segovia.
Segovia. Segovia is his name. Velasco Segovia. That kid is their number 10. And that is, I think, the reason why Venezuela has been successful. If you look at Venezuela's games, they play through that kid every single time. And of course, Randon is their striker. So if you see the similarities of the successful teams compared to the teams that don't have the success. When you look at Uruguay has Darwin Nunez. That's their number 9. Who is their mid guy? For Uruguay, in my opinion, you have a mixture. Obviously, is a little bit of Valverde, pero I also think Ugarte does a really, really good job combined with De La Cruz. Those two guys are the guys that like to push as well, along with Valverde, to help push the ball forward and move it to Darwin Nunez, who's their number 9. And what does Uruguay have? They have a coach. So you have a very strong coach who wanted to be with the United States. So you notice the trend. A number 9, a striker that can score, a mid guy that can pass the ball and give your striker an opportunity to score, and a coach who knows how to utilize the team and their players to its potential. That's why I think the United States lacks those 3 spots. Nick, talk to me. If the United States doesn't change their coach, so this is a two-parter here. If they don't change their coach, what do you think we're going to get with the United States in the World Cup? And if they do decide to move on from this coach, who, in your opinion, would be a great coach to hire to replace Greg Berhalter?
if they don't replace the coach and they go with this coach that they have right now, I see it as what they did in Copa America, which was a group exit. I think Berhalter is only good for Gold Cup competition, and we need someone that does better than Gold Cup competition. And so this team is talented, man, and you and I have spoken about it, that there's teams that are super talented, they just lack in coaching. And another team that kind of goes through that is Belgium. I think Belgium, Italy's going through a coach crisis as well. So it really is crucial when you don't have a coach that can really make the players feel like, this is a good team, bro, and you guys have a lot of potential. Let's keep on with what we have and focus and discipline. And I think the United States just needs a leader like that. And who would they go after? I'm not really good with coaches, but hey, man, go get yourself an Argentino coach or go get yourself a European coach. But stop getting Berhalter, please. That guy. Please.
That guy's the answer. I agree 100% with you. I don't think they will make it into the group out of the group stage if they stick with Greg Berhalter. I don't think if they even find a kid that can make any particular change to the team, I just don't see it. And if they had to go ahead and get somebody, one of the requirements that the United States men has been asking for, and I don't know why it's such a big deal, but I guess they're obsessed with the fact that they want to have a coach that can speak English. Now, I'm an old school American fan, and I'll never forget that they used to have, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name right. Bora Milutinovic was his name. That was the guy back in the day during the 1994 World Cup. That was when the United States upset Colombia, and the whole situation. They had Alexi Lalas, Eric Winalda, Tab Ramos, all those guys. And Bora he was I don't know his background. I have to look it up. Bora Milutinovic.
But he didn't speak English.
He spoke English. He was from Serbia. That's where he was from. He spoke English, but he spoke broken down English. It wasn't like the best English, but it was good enough. And I know that there's language barriers. We know that. But let's keep it real, man. You need a coach that knows soccer. I don't care if he speaks German. I don't care if he speaks French. You need somebody that's able to go ahead and show it and put these kids in the right place. I think the United States has a lot of talent. I think the United States has a lot of potential. I think if they don't make this change, they're really going to shoot themselves in the foot. We haven't had a World Cup in years. You got 2 years to get this right, man. You have a solid player in Landon Donovan. I personally don't believe in Weston McKennie. I think Winston McKennie needs to get
Landon Donovan. I wish we had Landon Donovan.
I'm sorry, Landon Donovan. My bad. Christian Pulisic. My fault. Christian Pulisic. You had Weston McKennie. I think Weston McKennie is he's not cutting it, man. He's the guy who I would assume would be the assist guy along with Gio Reyna, but he's not there. They're not there. Gio Reyna, I still have some hope for him, but Weston McKennie it's not there, dude. And he looked Weston, I'm sorry, bro. You look fat out there, bro. You look fat. You look slow. You were getting balls beat left and right against Uruguay. It didn't look good. But I always look at one thing. I'll never forget that Peru team. Peru, and I'm sorry if we have some Peru listeners. No disrespect to you, Peru, but Peru sucked. They didn't have very good, talented players. But as a unit, they were very strong. And they were strong because of their coach, Gareca, who is no longer their coach. He's the coach of Chile. But that Peru team, he didn't get them into the World Cup, but he was able to get them to like that sudden death match where unfortunately they weren't able to win it and move on to enter into the World Cup. But if you look at that Peru team was not that good. But as a unit, they were great. And it was because you had a strong head coach. And I think that's the thing for a team to be successful. You need to have a strong coach. If you have a whole bunch of talented players, but if you have a very strong coach, you're able to go ahead and get the best out of them. And I think that's what the United States has. So if the United States doesn't get rid of their players, like certain players out there, and they stick with the same group of kids, I still feel that if they have a better coach, they will at least be a heavy hitter. And if you guys watched the big old radio show today, I specifically compared them to the Miami Heat. I said, hey, look, the United States is like the Miami Heat. There's a lot of potential there. There's good players. There's players that suck there too, but there's some good players. But because of Coach Spoelstra has gotten them into deep waters. Coach Spoelstra has led them to a championship game. Even though there's no particular leader right now, because let's keep it real, Jimmy Butler is not the leader. Let's keep it real. And we'll talk about that in a few. But because you have a solid coach and Eric Spoelstra, you're able to go ahead and possibly be a sleeper and make your way all the way to the final. So I think the United States can do that. Who does the United States need to get as a coach? There's a lot. Jurgen Klopp. He is an option out there. Marcelo Bielsa wanted to be the United States coach. The United States turned him down, and he went to Uruguay. The other guy that I think has nothing to lose, and I think he'll get more out of this team, is Thierry Henry. I think Thierry Henry is a good option. I mean, he's not the best. He speaks perfect English. Give that guy an opportunity. Screw it. We have nothing to lose. At this point in time, I feel that any coach out there could do better than Greg Berhalter. I just don't understand what's the obsession with this guy. And I've mentioned it before. There's always kind of like corruption in the soccer federation. And I did my homework, and I've always said this. I said, hey, you know how Nick, me and you have spoken before, and we said, hey, Colombia sometimes has like their favorites, and they'll pick this guy to come to the selección, and they'll pick that guy and all that stuff. Kind of like how we brought in Miguel Borja. In my opinion, he should not be on the team, but they brought him in, and I think that wasn't a coach's decision. I think that was the Colombian Federation kind of pulling Nestor Lorenzo, our coach's hand, and saying, yo, you need to bring this kid. So I think that's why he brought him. But he's not getting any playing time because Nestor Lorenzo knows that he is not the answer when it comes to being a forward for the Colombian team. I think that's the same thing with the United States. I think the problem with the United States is that there's favoritism. Greg Berhalter's brother used to work for the United States Federation. Greg Berhalter's brother is in the MLS. He has a lot of clout. He has a lot to say. He's able to influence a lot. And I think that's the reason why Greg Berhalter was allowed to come back. And I think that's why he is the coach of the United States. And that's why I think the United States is not going to get rid of him. I think the United States is going to go ahead and keep him. And not until the United States sucks ass in the World Cup is when Greg Berhalter will get fired. And it's unfortunate because we're just going to lose 2 years, and the kids representing the United States is just going to have a bad image. I think that's the main reason. I think to the United States Federation, stand the fuck up. Get rid of that guy. Stop being so corrupt. Help the team. Pick a coach that's going to go ahead and change this team. You need a change in this team. There's no way in hell you can go ahead and have this coach lead these guys into a World Cup, and you've seen their record. They're like 1-5 or 6 or 7 against teams that are in the top 10. The only 4 victories that they've had against a top 10 team was against Mexico, and you saw what Mexico did. Mexico is not good. So get rid of them, man. Do the right thing, United States Federation. Get rid of that coach. Bring somebody. Pay, man. You want to be the best. We're the best. The United States is known for this. The United States is known for, look at how much effort and money we put into the Olympics, how much money we put into the women's soccer. Do the same for the guys' soccer, man. Like, do it. Just go out there and spend a little bit of cash. You're not going to lose anything, bro. You're not going to lose anything. Sorry, that was kind of like a speak the unspoken moment for me, right? But yeah, that was our segment of soccer. We will definitely come back to it. Quick left turn here. We're gonna talk a little bit about the Panthers, and then we'll finish off the show tonight with the Miami Dolphins. So Panthers shirt unfortunately, you and me were not able to celebrate the Panther victory. We weren't able to go with pots and pans because we were in Houston. But you were able to celebrate. You were downstairs in the hotel lobby enjoying that Panther Stanley Cup championship, while I was completely passed out because I had drank too much, so I couldn't remember what the hell happened that night. But there is evidence of that. I think one of these days I will go ahead and show the video of what the hell happened and what we were doing. We'll probably, you know what we'll do, Nick? We'll show it after the Copa America is over, and we'll show you guys the experience that we had, because there's a very good chance that if Colombia makes it to the finals, I'll probably be out there. So it'll be a good way to show the contrast of like the beginning and the end. But the Florida Panthers, man, they did it. They won. We were very excited. I bought the shirt. I have a shirt. I have the Stanley Cup championship shirt. Anything you want to go ahead and say about the Florida Panthers and what they were able to accomplish?
Just, it's good to have, championship energy in the city again, man. It's been a while since we had a championship. We've made finals. We've got into the final level, but we weren't able to ever beat the game. So, having to have that championship energy back into the city, I hope that rubs off to every other team that we have here. Well, you know what? Inter Miami won a championship last year. So look how that championship energy moved onto the Panthers. So hopefully the Panthers help the Marlins, help the Heat, and please, God, help the Dolphins. So, this is something very nice for the organization. They've worked hard for this. It's been 30 years. Actually, they won in their 30th year inaugural. So it's very nice to see that the Panthers were able to get the job done. It was scary, 7 games. It didn't look like it was going to go to 7 games, but hey, we got the job done. The team looks young. It is young. It's talented. We did lose some pieces due to free agency right now, but we're picking up other pieces. And I think that's just, I hope Paul Maurice is able to, create that crazy season of last year and this great season of this one that just passed. And we just continue this run. We have great talented leaders like Barkov and Kachuk, and hopefully, Bobrovsky and the defensive lineman like Igblad can go ahead and, repeat next year. But I'm very happy. I was, like my brother said, I was in the hotel lobby. I had to go watch it downstairs. Didn't want to make too much noise. My brother was, sleeping a little bit, but went downstairs, and it was very nice to just see the boys just winning and then seeing them celebrate the parade. It was awesome. Nothing like Miami fashion. A little bit of rain, right? A little bit of rain.
Facts. My take on the Florida Panthers. So a couple things. Number one, I'm proud of the Florida Panthers. They're the only local team that represented with a championship this year. So shout out to them. They did more than the Miami Heat had done. They have done way more than what the Panthers than what the Dolphins have done. Inter Miami is probably the next team that probably has a shot at winning a championship. So we'll stay in tune with that. 2 days ago, if I'm not mistaken, the Florida Panthers did a phenomenal job being able to re-sign Sam Reinhart, $60 million deal, keeping one of our veteran forwards under contract all the way to 2031. So that's gonna be amazing. I mean, he was like getting underpaid, and we were able to secure him, and I think that's gonna be
67 goals, man. He made 67 goals.
He was a leader in the team. He was a leader in the team, and he showed what it takes in order to get this Florida Panther over the hump. And then just a couple of hours ago, the Florida Panthers were able to sign this guy, Anton Lundell, to a 6-year deal, deal as well.
Baby Barkov. Baby
Barkov. And I mean, he's only 22 years old. He was gonna hit he was gonna be a restricted free agent. He had 13 goals and 22 assists in the regular season. I mean, he's legit. 17 points overall, 3 goals and 14 assists in the Stanley Cup playoff run that they had. Very solid numbers. We were able to save 2 really good players. I think the Florida Panthers can run this back. I think the Florida Panthers can go ahead and make it back to back. I know it's hard, but I think they have enough in them to go ahead and win it again. So I'm excited for this Florida Panther team. I think we have like maybe another year or two where we could take this team and win championships. And it'll be pretty cool to have a Florida team. I know Tampa's done it before, but a South Florida team, right? The Florida Panthers
Miami,
win it.
baby.
And shout out to all the Florida Panther fans that went to the parade. I mean, I was gonna go. I'm not gonna lie, but it was just too much water for me, my friends. I can't get sick. I hope people did not get sick. I know that people were getting wet left and right. It was a rainy parade, but you know what? They had a blast. I think the Florida Panther fans showed up. Through over 300,000 fans were out there, and I'm proud, man. I'm proud to be a Florida Panther fan. I've been a Florida Panther
too.
fan for a while, and like I've told you guys before in previous shows, I was listening and watching the Florida Panthers back in the day when they had John Van Beesbrook, Scott Mellenby, all those guys. And I would listen to him on the radio because I didn't have cable back then. I was just a little kid, and I mean, I'm telling you, man, it's a blessing to be able to say, hey, look, I lived it back in 1996 when the Panthers made it to the Stanley Cup Finals and they got swept. I think it was the Avalanche that swept them that year. And now 30 years, pretty much what, 20, close to 20 years, 18 years, right? 18 years? I think it's 18 years. My math is not
27.
27 years? Okay. 27 years. Correct. 27 years. 27 years to go and be able to see the Florida Panthers get the job done. Man, it was a blast. I'm very proud of the Florida Panthers, and I hope they keep it going. And you will see me out there. I will be going out there more often and checking out the Florida Panthers. So if you guys are Panther fans and you guys go out to the arena, I highly recommend it. And let me know, because I'll probably be letting you guys know through the show that, you know, I'm going to be out there supporting the Florida Panthers like I did this past season.
October 8th is their first game against the Boston Bruins. It's going to be their home opener, so we could probably watch the trophy.
Yeah, we could do the ring ceremony, which would be pretty cool. I'm pretty sure that game is probably going to be sold out. So if you guys want to go to that game and check that out when they raise the banner of the championship, that probably we need to start looking at tickets. If not now, if they're not on sale.
Yeah,
so.
the schedule got released, I think, this week.
Yeah. All right, sir. Our last segment of the day is, of course, the Miami Dolphins. And there's a lot going on. Cap for life. I don't know if Cap is still back or if he's coming back. He did mention to us that Cheetah was live on the Dolphins dive bar. So I don't know exactly what Cheetah was doing out there, but there's a lot of things going on with the Miami Dolphins, right? We're right around the corner, ladies and gentlemen. August is right around the corner. You know, we got the practice going on. Now we can start talking a little bit more Dolphins, right? Because there's a lot of controversy. There's a lot of things going on. You got Tua Tagovailoa's contract situation. You got Tyreek Hill saying that he is not about the money, that he just wants to win a Super Bowl with the Miami Dolphins. Is he talking up his ass, or is he really honestly being humble and really just wants to win a Super Bowl with the Miami Dolphins? And then we got questions in the new guys that we brought on. What are we gonna have with our defensive line? What are we gonna have with Odell being part of the offense? Who do we have at running back who's gonna step it up? Would it be Raheem Mostert again running the show and these guys right behind them, or is it maybe one of these Jalen guys gonna stand out and do way better and maybe be the leader of maybe some more than just one position, right? Because we obviously have Jalen's all around the Miami Dolphin roster, right? Let's start one by one, right? So, Nick, I want to show you something. So let me see if I could jump this here. All right, hold on. I'm gonna try to do this. I want to show this. I want to see if I can play this. So I don't want to get copyrighted. So let's see if I could present this. And I want to show you this. And let's see if I can play this. Hold on a second, guys. It's a little bit small. So let me see if I could edit this. Hold on a second, guys. So first and foremost, let me put myself here. Let me bring my brother here. Some live editing for you guys. That way you guys can see. And then we could make that a little bit bigger. There you go. And then let's save that. All right. So let's see. All right. So I want you to listen to this. Nick, let me know if you could hear this. So if you guys, what I want to show you guys is, hopefully we don't get copyrighted. I'm hoping it doesn't. I hope it's because it's small, it won't. Hard Knocks with the New York Giants is going on right now as we speak. And one of the things that Hard Knocks with the Giants happen is that they lost Saquon Barkley, right? Saquon Barkley went this year, if I'm not mistaken, to the Philadelphia Eagles, right? That's where he ended up going.
Yes.
Yep. So he ended up going to the Philadelphia Eagles. So I want to bring this video because this was trending on X, I believe earlier today, if not yesterday. And this is what they were talking about. Now, who you're going to see if you look at the screen right here on the lower left bottom, wearing a blue sweater, that's the general manager of the New York Giants. I think its name is Joe Henry, not Joe Henry, but it's
I believe it.
damn, I forgot his name.
If I needed a coach, I would say his name. You say his name, and he's there, sir. He's there.
Oh, Joe Henry. He's probably listening, and he's probably definitely he's probably there, of course. But no, it's not Joe Henry. Wait, maybe. Yes. No, that's not the GM of the Giants. That's Joe Henry. But every time we mention Joe Henry's name, I'm gonna have to play that for you guys. No.
His name
So
and he
the,
appeared.
so then his name is Joe Schoen. That's his name, Joe Schoen. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. So I want you to listen to this, man. And I want to show this because I think it's cool to see behind the scenes of their train of thought when it comes to Saquon Barkley. So let me play it, and then we're gonna relate this to how maybe they're talking about Tua Tagovailoa, right? Let's check it out. Okay. You heard that, right? So in the locker room of that, you saw that they were questioning whether they wanted to franchise tag Saquon Barkley. Now, like I said, the general manager, what's his name again? Joe Schoen, was a guy who mainly was saying, hey, look, is this guy worth it? Is this guy the guy that we need to bank on, and is he a difference maker? And if you look at the room, I'm not too sure who he had there, but you saw this guy. I'm going to try to rewind it here. That way you could see this guy, and I'm assuming he has to be maybe an offensive coordinator, or I don't know. I don't think he's the head coach. Him. I don't know, that guy. He was the only one, and Nick left the screen for a second, but he was the only one that was defending Saquon Barkley. He was the only one that was actually going ahead and saying, hey, look, yeah, we need Saquon Barkley. Yeah, he's the guy who's going to help us, move on. He's going to be the one who's going to help this team because we need him. He's the guy who's going to go ahead and protect them. He was the only one. Everyone else was like, we don't need Saquon Barkley. Get him the hell out of here. We don't need him. So it's I'll bring my brother back once he's back. I'll put him on. I think I have him here. There it is. So let's see. Hopefully, there he is. Excuse me. I guess he's coming in. I guess he's having some internet connections. But I wanted to bring that up because look how I could show it again, Cat for Life. I could show you because I know you wanna. I know you want it. I'll play it again, and I'm gonna play the other video again. So I'm gonna play this video once again. Hopefully by then my brother is able to go ahead and come back to the connection. But I want you to see how the New York Giants, how everybody pretty much in the New York Giants organization, except this guy. And again, I'm not sure who he is. I don't know. I don't know if that is the coach. I don't think he's the coach of the Giants. Or is he? Is he the coach of the Giants? Let me see. Who's the New York Giants' coach? New York Giants head coach. Their heck is Brian Dable. So no, that's definitely not the coach. Brian Dable is the guy who used to be in Buffalo. So right, that's not him, right? Brian Dable is the Brian Dable el gordito. Yeah, no, it's not him. All right, so I'm assuming that either this guy has to be like an offensive coordinator, or he's probably and again, mind you, I apologize for my ignorance, but this guy is the only one that's defending Saquon Barkley. And I'm gonna play it again. That way you could hear it. He's the only one saying, "Hey, yes, do you feel this guy is worth this money? Do you feel this guy is the guy, should we invest on him or not?" So let me go ahead and play one more time for you guys. And I'm going to play the other video that I have. Okay, so check this out. And I want to compare this because this is like the same. Think about the Miami Dolphins. Think about how Chris Greer is sitting down with all these guys, because this is the cool thing about Hard Knocks. And I like this type of stuff. When you see like the room, and you hear these guys talking. That's why we don't see this on a daily basis. So this is the cool thing about Hard Knocks. So I'm going to play this one more time. That way you could see what it is. All right, hold on. Here we go. So if you saw that there, okay, so let's I'm gonna stop it there for a split second. Obviously, the first thing was saying, "Hey, look, is anybody if he's worth that money?" And then obviously you saw that I guess that offensive guy for the New York Giants was saying yes, they are. And now look at this guy. He was saying, "Hey, look, you have Pollard, you have the other running backs available. Is there a big difference?" And then look what they say. And notice him. Remember, I told you, and he's like, "Yes, he is. They will sign him for $12 million." So they were saying that there's no guarantee that they could chase Saquon Barkley and get anything for him. Keep in mind, Saquon Barkley was a baller in the Giants. Let's keep going. Oh, hold on a second. Cap for Life says you can't hear it. Cap, is that true? Can you hear it? Nick, can you hear it?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah. Can you hear it or no?
Sorry, I was having technical issues. I don't know if you noticed, but nah, I couldn't hear anything.
Okay, hold on a second, guys. Thanks, Cap, for letting me know. Hold on a second, because I don't want you guys to negative, no sound. Okay, hold on a second, Cap. Let me see if I could get this squared away. Sorry about that, guys. I thought you guys were able to hear it. Hold on. So let me go here. Maybe this is why you can't hear it. So.
Puede ubicar tropical connection. That's funny,
I don't know.
bro.
All right, let's try this one. See if it works. Hold on.
Saquon franchising.
Can you hear it now? Nick, can you hear me?
Let's see.
And trading him.
All right, so now you guys can hear.
now.
Damn, sorry guys, I really apologize. So you guys are probably like, what the hell is Frank talking about? Okay, now let's hear it. So good. Thank you, Cat for Life. Hey, Mr. Pollo Tropical Connection, you could have at least opened your mouth and said that you couldn't hear. A-hole. Anyways, let's go. Let's keep it going. So let me play it again. Let me play it again. That way you guys can hear. And I apologize. Technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen, but this is what happens when we're doing live. All right, so here we go. Here we go.
Obviously, Saquon, franchising and trading him, I don't think is realistic.
Are we positive that nobody's gonna pay him that kind of money? Like, there's nobody in the draft. There's no free agents, receivers they're either gonna be going back to their team at 20 million.
I mean, who would you say would go sign up running back to that dollar
A
amount?
team that's, anyone that has money to spend.
There's a lot of running backs in free agency.
Yeah, but are any potential difference makers really? Like after you watch this film?
Even if Saquon's number one on your board, do you imagine anyone's going to have such a gap between Saquon and Jacobs, Pollard, Henry, whoever else, that they're going to want him at $12 million a year or minus whatever we're willing to eat and send a draft pick?
Right. And then if we did, what would somebody realistically give up?
I just think all the teams that need a running back are going to look at Saquon. Do you feel good about eating $3 to $4 million for a 5th round pick? Like, I wouldn't.
I don't know. There's no guarantee we can trade him. So, having the needs that we have in a $12 million, 27-year-old running back.
So let me see if I put it there. Okay, so you saw that. So you heard that. That sounded a little bit clear. So you could tell the backroom, like the behind the scenes. And like I said, check out Hard Knocks. It's really good because even though I'm not a Giants fan, I am watching it because of this type of intrigue stuff. So just think about how they're having this conversation about Saquon Barkley, and they were saying, "Hey, look, is he worth this amount of money? Can we franchise tag this kid? If we decide to trade him, can we get some value for it?" Imagine the Dolphins having this conversation, because I'm pretty sure they're having this conversation as well with their staff. I'm thinking I'm removing Joe Schoen from there, and I'm putting Chris Greer in there, and I'm putting that offensive guy there. That's would probably be Mike McDaniel, because if you notice, that guy was the only one that was kind of like protecting and giving, trying to promote. Hey, I really want Saquon Barkley. Like, yeah, he's worth his value. All right, so that was the first video I wanted to show. Now I'm gonna show you guys the second video. Let me remove this. And I'm going to show you this video. Now, check. This one is even more interesting because this one is actually interaction between the actual Joe Schoen, the GM.
Because we're not going to franchise.
So this is Joe Schoen, and this is the actual owner of the New York Giants. And I want to make sure I got the name of the New York Giants owner correct. New York Giants. And sorry for my ignorance. Again, I'm not too shabby here. All right, so is John Mara. So John Mara interaction with Joe Schoen. So let's play it here.
Like, it doesn't make any sense to franchise him. So
unless you think you can trade him after doing that.
Right, and then could we get something and trade him? What are we really going to get? Unless it got down to like $7 million. And I don't want to offer that because I don't want to be like we disrespected him. There's 31 teams. It only takes one to, maybe be open to doing something. If it doesn't get to that, hey, we're going to do the right thing. We're going to let you hit free agency, find out your market, come back and let us know if we can match it. If we can, we'll have those discussions.
In a perfect world, I'd still like to have him back. Until we can prove that we can have a decent offense without him.
Daniel's making a lot of money, and it's the fork. Like, we got to figure out is he the guy? So we got to protect him. We need to put resources there. Yeah. We have Waller, Belly, a healthy Wandell, Hyatt, Slayton. We'll have to find a running back, but upgrade the offensive line, give him a chance.
That would force us to take a running back in the high to mid.
Or we can still sign one. There's going to be guys, if we're patient, that ended up shaking out. Devin Singletary, who was in Houston, played for $275 this year. Joe Mixon may be a cap casualty, so now you got Saquon, Jacobs, Pollard, Eckler. That's 6 guys right there that are free agents. How many clubs really need running backs where they're going to invest resources in the position? Second week of free agency, I think there'll be some value guys, specifically at the running back position.
Yeah, I wouldn't commit to anything.
So, as you saw there, And that interaction kind of reminded me of probably the interaction that Chris Greer had with the Miami Dolphins owner about Christian Wilkins. That as soon as I saw that video, that's the first thing that I thought about. I was like, yo, that is probably the same conversation the Miami Dolphins had about Christian Wilkins when they went ahead and said, yo, let him test the waters. And they don't want him to disrespect it. And then, and then we'll try to match. And if it doesn't work out, then screw it. We'll go ahead and we'll move on. That was like the first thing. I don't know, Nick, if you caught the same thing. If that was the first thing I thought in your head. That was when I saw that video, I was like, yo, this is the same type of like I could picture them having this conversation about Christian Wilkins. The other thing I thought was cool, obviously, is the fact that the little graphics that they did, that was pretty cool. I like that. I like how they were pointing out each one, the receivers that they had, the offensive line, and then you saw how they put Saquon Barkley. So I could only imagine the Dolphins probably have something similar. And then at the same time, you also have them, how Joe Schoen, the GM of the Giants, he's going ahead and saying, hey, look, we've invested on the quarterback, and he's our bread and butter. Like, we can't invest this much money on a running back because we need to find out if the quarterback that we invested so much money on is the right one. Is he the one who's going to actually, take us to being the next level? Is Daniel Jones at the end of the day the right guy? So let me talk to you, Nick. Let me ask you, number one, first and foremost, listening to that, what did you think? And then number two, if we were to put the Miami Dolphins in there, right? Let's say the Dolphins were the ones that were actually going ahead and having these conversations, because I could just picture it. Do you see Chris Greer, like that last one in particular where he's talking to his owner, like defending Tua? Like, is he going ahead and saying, hey, look, we can't invest on this guy and this guy because we need to put all our eggs in a basket in Tua? Or do you feel that maybe we could use it as, hey, look, at the end of the day, Tua, we need to get the answers from him. We can't franchise tag this guy, or we could franchise tag him after this season and play our cards and see how much we can rely on Tua, and is he going to be the right guy? What did you think about the videos and how you could relate this and these conversations to maybe what the Dolphins organization is having as well, when they obviously to probably the Christian Wilkins and of course Tua and Tyreek and some of these other guys?
Yeah, I mean, the footage you showed me behind the scenes on how, management pretty much manages their payroll and their salary cap, and having to realize what pieces are more heavier on the salary than others. And, there's for sure talks about making business every day. Obviously, I truly believe Chris Greer is just trying to find a sweet number. I don't think Stephen Ross is against paying Tua. I think it's just a sweet spot, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's Tua's agent who's kind of like trying to stretch out as much as he can in order to get Tua getting paid, especially for what Tua has done that last 4 years. So, do I see them? I guess you can say doubting Tua and putting into those variables into place. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. There's pros and cons, but at the end of the day, business is business. They're gonna do their bargaining. This is called collective bargaining. They're gonna have a process in place, and eventually Tua's gonna get paid. But it was interesting. It's cool how they talk and what they really value, and how they move forward from moving pieces. Like when I didn't think of Christian Wilkins. I thought about Tyreek Hill.
Really? You thought about Tyreek Hill?
Vaccine footage of the Giants.
Yeah, I mean,
I did. Yeah.
Now
because Tyreek Hill would test the waters, and then that's when Tyreek Hill would be like, "Hey, can you match this?" And then they'll be like, "Yeah, sure, we'll match that."
I mean, that is interesting. I will say this, man. Obviously, the behind the scenes of the Hard Knocks is pretty cool, because they're gonna be showing a Hard Knocks. I guess it's starting. You saw the date there in February. Was when they started it, obviously, and one of the things that you saw from the New York Giants was how they were questioning, Saquon Barkley. And at the end of the day, Saquon Barkley ended up going somewhere else. And like I told you, the interaction that the GM had with the owner, I 100% could understand why you thought Tyreek Hill. I thought Christian Wilkins. I thought it was the exact same thing that happened before, where they said, "Hey, look, we're not going to pay Christian Wilkins all his money. We're going to let him ride it out and see if he could do it. And then if he successfully is able to improve his stats, then we'll try to go ahead and offer him something. And then if we could match it, then we'll keep him. If not, then we let him ride out." I think that's the same thing that happened with Saquon Barkley. They weren't able to invest on him, but you saw how they went ahead and they said, "Hey, we have to make a smart strategic cut." And one of the things that the GM of the Giants was doing, he was saying, "Hey, look, we need to focus on the quarterback. We need to make sure that we put everything on the quarterback to make it successful." As you could tell, the New York Giants quarterback, Daniel Jones, his success is based on the people around him, right? But there's a point in time when I think the GM just goes and says, "You know what? I'm done. I can't keep babysitting my quarterback. I need to see if this guy can fly. Can this guy hold it? Because we're not going to always have the best athletes around your quarterback. You're going to have some that are very good, some that are middle, and some of them that suck." And the difference between a Super Bowl contender is making sure your quarterback can still produce no matter if you don't have the elite athletes around you. And I think that's what the GM of the Giants was doing. He was saying, "Hey, look, we need to see what Daniel Jones is all made of." I think the same thing Chris Greer is doing. And I think that's the reason why he has not resigned Tua Tagovailoa. I think he's going ahead and he wants to see what Tua is able to bring to the table. Can this guy be successful even if we don't have the talent around? And I think Tua needs to realize, and his agent needs to realize, that there's a lot of question marks. And I'm one who is happy at the fact that Chris Greer is taking a stand. And Chris Greer is actually going ahead and saying, "Look, I'm picking the Dolphins over you, sir. You're not the franchise. The Dolphins is the franchise. The Dolphins can't win a championship just with Tua. The Dolphins could win championships with whoever. He is not the last set in stone person. We could win a championship with other people. We just need to have the right people in place." Now, I'm not saying Tua is not the right guy. Maybe he is the right guy. But I love the fact that Chris Greer took a stand and said, "Hey, look, we need to look out for the Dolphins, not for Tua. And this is what we're doing." And when it comes to Tyreek Hill, when he goes and he talks all this stuff about, "Hey, look, I want to be a Super Bowl winner with the Miami Dolphins," and all that stuff, I like what he's saying. Do I believe him? I don't think so. I think that's fluff. I think he's just saying that just to sell to the Dolphins fans and to the media and to whoever he needs to sell. "Hey, look, I'm a team player." But at the end of the day, Tyreek Hill's all about the money, man. There's a reason why. If that was the case, if he was such a team player that I want to win Super Bowls and all that stuff, then let's bring it back. Why didn't he stay in Kansas City? Kansas City was offering him good money. They weren't making him the highest paid wide receiver, but they were still offering him good money. And they had won Super Bowls already. They had won a Super Bowl already. So why, if Super Bowls was such a big thing in your career, then you should have stayed in Kansas City and you just should have ran it, especially that you had your boys, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce there. It just made more sense. Him coming here to Miami and doing what he did it for the money. That's the only reason why he came here. It wasn't because he felt that Miami Dolphins were a Super Bowl contender. Obviously, he wants to make the Dolphins super contender, but his main reason was the money, dude. I want to get paid, and that's why I'm here. Dolphins are the ones paying me. And again, a lot of the reports are kind of like this, right? Where you hear, yes, Tyreek Hill wants to negotiate a contract. Now, all of a sudden, you hear Tyreek Hill saying, "No, I'm all about the Miami Dolphins." So I don't believe him. I still think that the Miami Dolphins are going to cut him. I think they need to cut him after the season because at the end of the day, you have to make a choice, Nick. Do you pay Tyreek Hill? Do you open up the cap a little bit? That way you could work away with the numbers and possibly even re-sign Tua Tagovailoa? Or what has always been the case with Chris Greer, which is, hey, let's take gambles. And based on a track history, he's always been the guy that says, you got to prove it before I pay it. Prove it and I'll pay it. If you can't prove it, I'm moving on. What do you say?
I think when it comes to the Kansas City situation, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he mentioned that Kansas City didn't want to pay him top 5 wide receiver money. And so he felt like it was disrespect. So, not even giving him top 5 wide receiver money, that's kind of a slap in the face, especially that you helped contribute big immensely. And so I feel like if I was Chris Greer and I was going to decide what I want to do with Tyreek Hill's future, obviously I'll sit down with him and I'll be like, look, I'll pay you this amount. I'll pay you top 7 wide receiver money, but I wouldn't pay you top 3 money. We already paid you top wide receiver money 2 years ago. We granted that request. Now you kind of help us alleviate some of that salary by, you won't be getting, how much is he getting paid yearly? I think it's 30 a year. How about we pay you 20 a year?
Now you're asking him to do like a Jimmy Butler.
Would it
Take a pickup.
Will it happen? Will it happen? I'm not sure. But hey, it's worth the try. I rather try than be like, hey, look, I rather try and show them, hey, look, I value you. I rather still pay you 20, but at the same time, though, age obviously is coming to your career, and at the end of the day, we still value your contribution. But for me to just be like, okay, Tyreek, you can go test the waters because you deserve it. That just me without having even to bargain with him. Yeah, I might not pay you top money, but I can pay you top 7. I would think about it.
Yeah, and absolutely. And Cap for Life is saying the Dive just talked about it, and he's right. He's talking about the Dive Bark podcast. They just had Tyreek Hill. They're also a podcast that streams. So they're at Tyreek Hill, and yeah, I saw that they had him on. I need to check out and see what exactly he said with those guys over there. But in my opinion, like what you said, Nick, you got to be strategic on here. I don't think Tyreek Hill is going to take a pay cut. I don't think Tyreek Hill is going to not ask for the most money. And here's the thing about Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill wants more money. He's going to try to get as much money. And Drew Rosenhaus is his agent. Drew Rosenhaus is a guy who's known for trying to get the most buck for his athletes. So I don't see the Miami Dolphins going ahead and overpaying for Tyreek Hill again. I think they did a one-time thing. They made him the highest paid wide receiver. I think the Miami Dolphins did something kind of strategic. They went ahead and said, hey, we have an opportunity to go ahead and have the superstar in the team, and we did it. Now that they realized that they had Jalen Waddle as well, they were like, we have something in Jalen Waddle. We don't need Tyreek Hill. Now we could just eventually pass the torch from Tyreek Hill over to Jalen Waddle and make Jalen Waddle our number 1 guy. So I think that's why at the end of the day, Chris Greer made it a priority to resign him, and they made they didn't hesitate. They moved quickly on that. When it comes to what Tyreek brings to the table, there's a lot of things that happens with Tyreek Hill. There's a lot of things when it comes to his legal issues, his problems in and out on the field. You understand me? His inconsistency on the field. Guys dropping balls sometimes. Guys not making the right routes, running the wrong way. Yes, does he make up for it, but not always. And then let's keep it real. The fact of the matter is, when you play Super Bowl contenders, he's getting shut. He's not doing the Tyreek things that we usually see Tyreek do. So is it really, do we need to pay that much money for a guy who's now in his 30s and his career is probably going to start now to kind of fall a little bit? Jalen Waddle, he's in his 20s, so you have a lot more potential with Jalen Waddle than with Tyreek Hill. And I think that's the problem with Tyreek Hill. I think he doesn't realize that the Dolphins are not going to resign him, dude. I think the Dolphins are just going to let him walk. I mean, if you let Tyreek Hill if you resign Tyreek Hill, I'll say this. I'll go on a limb here. If the Miami Dolphins go out and pay Tyreek Hill the money that he wants, and again, this is just my hypothesis here. The Miami Dolphins will move on from Tua Tagovailoa. They will not re-sign him. What they'll do is they'll keep him for 1 year, they'll franchise tag him, and then they'll let him go. They'll let him test. They'll let him walk, and they'll look for another quarterback. I just feel because that by them signing Tyreek Hill to like a 4 or 5 year deal, because Tyreek has gone on paper saying, "Hey, I want to end my career here in the Dolphins and all that stuff." You're basically saying, "Hey, I picked Tyreek Hill over Tua Tagovailoa." I know there's going to be cap situation. There'll be a little bit of cap available to play around with, but I think the Dolphins would run it like that. I think the Dolphins would say, "Hey, give Tua these next 2 years. Let's move on from him. He can't get the stuff done." By that time, keep in mind, Mike McDaniel would have been the coach already for 4 years for Tua. And if you're not getting any results, then we move on. So I honestly feel that Tyreek Hill, he's blowing up smoke. I don't think the Dolphins are going to re-sign him. And I think the Dolphins and Tyreek Hill's run is going to end after the season. I think they're going to let him go.
As long as they show interest in valuing his contribution and not leaving a bad taste to Tyreek Hill's mouth, I'm okay with moving on from him. But if they let him go like that, like trapo mojado, that's pretty messed up.
But didn't they do that with Christian Wilkins? They did that with Christian Wilkins. They let him walk.
But Christian Wilkins is not a superstar, man. Tyreek Hill is.
That's a good point. But he isn't a scrub either. Solid guy. We're going to find out if we really made the right decision letting Christian Wilkins go.
So you're comparing Tyreek Hill. So you're comparing Christian Wilkins to Tyreek Hill.
Statistically, he isn't better than Tyreek Hill, but I think leadership-wise, I think Christian Wilkins was a better leader than Tyreek Hill, in my opinion. I think that he led that defense, in my opinion. I think that's where the Miami Dolphins are going to struggle when it comes to the defensive side. I think the leadership role that Christian Wilkins brought to the team, I think the Dolphins are going to miss that. That's the biggest thing that they're going to miss. They're not going to miss his sacks. They're not going to miss his, run stopping, what he did. They're going to miss his leadership. He was a leader on that defensive side. He was one of the guys that never got injured. And he got drafted by the Dolphins.
I can only agree with you if I see a positive impact in the Raiders. If he doesn't do shit in the Raiders, then Tyreek Hill's still a much more valuable piece than Christian Wilkins.
Also, we're gonna find out if Zach Sealer was the right guy. If Zach Sealer is able to produce the same numbers without Christian Wilkins being there. So I think Christian Wilkins is gonna do really well in the Raiders. I think he's gonna he's gonna do what Saquon Barkley is gonna do. He's gonna go ahead and try to stick the middle finger to Saquon Barkley is gonna try to stick the middle finger to the Giants, and I think the Miami Dolphins, Christian Wilkins is gonna do the same thing with the Miami Dolphins. He's gonna show them, hey, look, you made a mistake, man. You should have paid me, and now I'm gonna prove you. And I can't wait to see when the Raiders come here to South Florida and play Dolphins, because I know he's gonna have a chip on his shoulder. And he's gonna be like, yo, I'm gonna be a difference maker. You guys didn't believe in me, because that's the truth. The Dolphins didn't believe in Christian Wilkins. So
we'll see, man. If Tua still throws at 2.7 seconds per throw, I don't think Christian Wilkins will have enough time to even reach Tua. So we'll see.
That's a good point. It's all about the offensive line. It's always what makes a difference in the game, I think, is the trenches, right? You need to win in the trenches in order for a team to be successful when it comes to the offense and when it comes to defense at the end of the day. If the defensive line could get to the quarterback before the quarterback can throw the ball, the quarterback can't do shit.
If he goes after thick Tua, I believe so. But this is a leaner Tua, so I wouldn't be surprised if he gives them a little
some shake and bake.
And but whatever, bro. At the end of the day, they're gonna still sign Tua. If they let go of Tyreek, I mean, we move on. That's just how business is business. But like I said, as long as they show interest in matching and trying to bring them back, I mean, it's kind of like me at a job. If I present an opportunity and my job is like, hey, man, we value you. How about we move you to another line of business? Maybe raise up your salary, or just kind of like compensate for like a little bit of what I'm looking for in another job.
then I'm gonna value at least that. And I may not pick the job I'm leaving. I might go on to another opportunity, but I'm gonna still have that good taste in my mouth that I chose the right organization to invest on and work for a couple of years.
I want to ask you one thing before we obviously end the show because we're reaching the 2-hour mark. Tyreek is given the papers. They let him walk. After like a season or two, do you see Tyreek Hill talking shit about the Dolphins? At least management, not the team, but management.
If they let him go like how they did to Xavier Howard, then yes. But if they let him go to like a player that I don't really think I can recall, because there hasn't been a big player like that in a while in the Miami Dolphins. But if they can let Tyreek know, hey, we value you, we understand that you need more money or you want more money and you want a better opportunity, so be it. But we're gonna at least give you that good taste in mind that, hey, we didn't let you go because we didn't value you. You just wanted someone offer something bigger, and hey, you gotta understand that. But as long as me as Tyreek Hill know that they were trying, then hey, let's go for it. But like, if you guys are just gonna let me taste the free agency like that, like without having a proper healthy conversation, then yeah, definitely I'm gonna talk shit about the Dolphins management.
Yeah, I think he's gonna talk shit about the Dolphins management whether he has a healthy conversation or not. He has a podcast. There's a reason why Tyreek Hill wants Tyreek Hill seeks the media. He seeks a lot of attention. And if the Miami Dolphins go ahead and let him walk, I don't see Tyreek Hill being professional about it. Like you see Christian Wilkins, he hasn't said shit. He stayed quiet. He was like, blase. He's kept it. I don't see that with Tyreek Hill. I really honestly feel Tyreek Hill's gonna open his mouth because remember, maybe he didn't trash the Kansas City front office, but he did say, "Hey man, I felt disrespected. I wanted to be the best highest paid wide receiver in the NFL, and the Kansas City Chiefs weren't giving me that opportunity." Chad says he's 30.
That was 27. That was 27-year-old Tyreek Hill. We will see after 32, 33-year-old Tyreek Hill.
Well, keep in mind, man, he has a lot of babies, bro. So he has to try to bank as much money as he can because when he retires, he's gonna go broke. There's no way in hell he's gonna be able to pay all that child support after he finishes the NFL. There's no way in hell, bro. Like, I mean,
I think he's smart enough to have I think he's smart enough to have business partners around him to make him have other avenues of income. So I don't know about that, but I hope he just doesn't talk shit about the Dolphins.
But remember one thing though, like he has business partners, he could be the most relevant guy, but once you're off the cameras, people are not seeing you on a consistent basis and all that stuff, your value goes down. AKA Floyd Mayweather Jr. Have you noticed that? Floyd Mayweather was banking. Floyd Mayweather was making all these moves and all that stuff. Why? Because he would still go out and box. Once Floyd Mayweather retired, nobody hears him. Nobody knows about him. I mean, he's still making some money, but he's not making the same type of money that he was making when he was boxing. And I think that's what's going to hurt him in the long run when it comes to Tyreek Hill because of how many kids he has. I think at the end of the day, he's going to be screwed because he's going to make money. I'm not saying he's going to be broke, but I'm also going to go ahead on a limb and say you're not going to make enough money to be able to pay all these child support. I don't think anybody would. Unless he's just popping out kids, and then when he goes to court, because he's not gonna be able to pay all his child support, he basically tells the court, "Hey, look, I can't afford all this money to each person. So this is how much I could pay." Because child support is no joke, bro. I thank God I don't have any children,
support or not, as long as Chris Grier shows that he values Tyreek at the end of the bargaining, I think Tyreek Hill would be like, "Hey, look, man, we didn't get the job done, but hey, I appreciate the organization. Hopefully, we'll see. In the meantime, just sign Tua, man. It's time for that whole debacle to unreal. I'm already getting antsy, but at the same time, Dolphins have all the right to wait, just as much Tua has all the right and his agent to wait too."
I agree. I also feel that the Miami Dolphins are eventually going to sign Tua, but I don't think they're going to sign him this year. I think they're going to ask him to prove himself this year, and then after that, then they'll I think the Dolphins will go ahead out on a limb and ask Tua to prove himself, and I think Tua hopefully does, and then they rather pay a little bit more in order for it to get the job done. So
We'll see.
we'll see. All right, sir. It has been a pleasure. Let me talk to you. Episode 30. We had a lot. I want to thank Josh. I want to thank everybody who joined in on the chat board. We had, of course, Josh was there, Cat for Life, Stanley Media House Network. Chad was on there. A new face, Alexa. Thank you, Alexa, for being on the chat board. Jose, another new face on the chat board. I'm trying to see anybody else. Did I miss anybody? Nope. I think we're good. I think we covered most of the stuff that we wanted to talk about. We could cover a little bit next time. The Miami Heat. I do want to give you guys a quick update. I'm not too sure if we're gonna have the show next week. If we do have the show next week, it will probably be, maybe we'll switch it, Nick. Maybe we could do a Thursday night if that's possible, or maybe we'll change the time, because if Colombia makes it to the semifinal game would be on Wednesday, and it'll interfere with our show. So I don't want to. I love you guys, but I still want to see the Colombia play. I want to see. We really want to see that game if they're in that semifinal, which most likely I'm hoping they are. If they get the job done with Panama, which I'm hoping. So we might have to change the show. Maybe do it either on Tuesday, or maybe we'll do it Thursday. I don't know, Nick, your schedule on Thursday, but maybe we'll do it on Thursday if you're available. I'm pretty sure I'll probably be available next Thursday, and then we could recap Copa America. And maybe then I could have another guest for the Copa America portion of the show. I coincidentally, guys, I got a couple of friends hitting me up while the show was going on, saying, "Hey, Frank, I want to go on, but I just got the message and this and that, so I apologize that I wasn't able to get more guests." But hey, man, Josh has been a trooper. Josh never lets me down. So Josh, I really appreciate you being on board. Nick, any final words you want to say before we end the show?
No, man, just blessed to have this podcast, blessed to do this podcast every time we have. I want to thank every listener out there, every watcher. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We appreciate every little nice gesture from you guys. We really appreciate it. We do this for you guys, and we also do this for us. It's fun, it's cool. Nothing like talking a little bit about sports, and take this time to celebrate the independence of this country, of our country, the United States. Eat some hot dogs, eat some hamburgers. Be careful with the fireworks. Don't play with fireworks. You might be like what's that guy from the Giants? What was his name? Pierre Paul, whatever. He lost a finger, so please don't do that. But yeah, guys, just be safe out there. Happy Independence Day to all the watchers out there. Enjoy your family time. Enjoy all the good fireworks, and let's hope Colombia finishes the job against Panama.
Yeah, man, and I want to thank everybody again. Don't forget to hit the like. Don't forget to hit the subscribe. I want to thank everybody who tuned in on X, everybody who tuned in on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitch. If you guys get a moment, quickly just jump on the YouTube section and go ahead and hit that like, hit that subscribe. It only helps the algorithm. If there's any questions you guys want to ask us for any particular segment, DM us ahead of schedule. Send me a message on X, send me a message on Instagram, on Facebook. Send me a message on any of those, or send my brother a message, and we could talk about it. We could give you our opinion of what we feel, our opinion will be, whether it's on the Copa America, whether it's on the Miami Dolphins, the Florida Panthers, the Miami Heat. And like my brother said, we do this not only for ourselves, but we also do this for you guys. As you could tell, we don't ask for like super chats or send us Cash App or any of that stuff. You don't see any of that stuff. You just see us just talking. And that's what we're here for, right? We're just doing our thing, talking some sports, talking soccer, because that's what we love, and showing some love. And I promise you, once the Dolphin season picks up, once the Copa America is there, we'll have more stuff, more guests. And if you want to be a guest, yeah, don't forget, we are going to be going to camp. I know Cap for Life World Camp starts in 25 days. Yes, me and my brother will be out there. Maybe not to all the all the training camps that they have, but we'll definitely be on a couple of them because we always get the reminders by our agents letting us know. I also want to give you a quick update. My brother and I made the decision of not subscribing to the what was it, the Dolphins experience, I think, where you get like free soda and water. We made that decision. We ended up not doing it. At the end of the day, it just financially didn't make any sense. Maybe next year, but I don't know. I think there's more to it. I don't know. I think we could, that money that we would have spent on that, I think we could probably spend it on beer or on something else, right?
Or La Copa America final.
Oh, the Copa America final. Now, I do want to let you guys know, and I know I'm blabbering here, but if Colombia makes it to the final, Nick, talk to me, man. Will you go? Are we going to pay over $1,000 to go watch Colombia in the final in Hard Rock Stadium?
If I'm willing to pay a Super Bowl ticket to see the Miami Dolphins play in, I'll probably do the same for Colombia and La Copa America.
Damn. For all you Dolphin fans, if the Dolphins made the Super Bowl, would you go to whatever city you have to go to, and would you pay? Well, remember, Super Bowl tickets are way more expensive. Super Bowl tickets are like about $9,000, $10,000. I think that the Boondock seats are like $10,000. So would you pay that amount to go see the Miami Dolphins in the Super Bowl? You because the Super Bowl tickets are expensive as hell. $9,000-$10,000 just to sit on the Boondocks. Would you do it? Would you pay all that money? I don't know. For me, the only time I would probably pay like $10,000 or something, or even close to it, would probably be to see
Let me talk to you.
The biggest icon in wrestling.